born in Arizona, moved. Can you turn the screen towards me, please?
It is towards
the screen.
Oh.
Sorry, I get like really mad when you forget to do that. Thank you.
It'd be more specific because there's 2 screens.
Oh yeah, you're right. My ruse.
I refuse.
Do it. Can you feed the kitties
No.
and turn the TV down? First of all, welcome back to another Mug Monday. Second of all, I will say, guys, I can't believe I am back here again. Last week when I made that video, the Barbie video, the Barbenheimer video, I did not expect to be back here again discussing the Barbie movie. But here I am. I'm here. I went to go see it the other day and it left me feeling some type of way. And I thought, I gotta discuss this. I gotta make a video about this because there's just like so much to touch on. Like I have just been on a roller coaster ride. I don't know about you if you've seen the movie, and we are gonna have some spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen it, I'm really sorry. If you don't care about seeing it or you want to see it but you don't care about spoilers, then keep watching. And if you care about spoilers, I'm sorry. You might have to turn it off. I'm sorry. But I just had to discuss it while it's relevant, because next week it wouldn't be so much, But there's a couple things at play here. So this is the only night of the week that I could do this video. It's been very busy. We have our friend that is moving in with us from California. It's very exciting. He's coming on Sunday and it's been a busy week. Like everything surrounding that, it's just been busy, cleaning, getting things ready. But I've been at work and went to go see the Barbie movie one of those nights, so it's just been jam-packed. And the other thing is today, actually I think maybe eating popcorn is the most appropriate thing to be doing right now because it's a movie review. So it's perfect. I got tea to drink. In my YouTube moog. In my moog. We had somebody at my work today who's been with the company for 38 years. Like I almost fainted when I found that. I was like, 38 years at the same job? Like pretty incredible. He retired today. So we had a lot of food, like tons of food. And I literally got like Italian nonna'd by my manager at work. Like I was like, no, I don't want a croissant, thanks. I'm good. I don't want a coffee, don't want a croissant. And then I get a coffee and croissant like brought to me. I'm like, okay, well I get, I have to eat it and it's there and like I don't want to waste it and then I was like, no, I don't want any cake. And I get brought the biggest slice of cake you've ever seen, like a Rubik's Cube, but like bigger, like a fat old Rubik's Cube. And then, so I ate that. And so I'm just like, I'm so full and I literally couldn't think about anything else to eat. I was just like, this is light. It's like fine, simple, good to go. So I'm just gonna get right into it. In reviewing this, I know that I'm gonna leave out things that I wanna talk about. I just wanna talk about so many things and I've been writing them down on my phone and I've just been like kind of preparing it for the past couple days and there's no way I'm gonna touch on everything, but I'm gonna do my best. And it may be a big jumbled mess because I don't normally review things, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna just delve right in and get on it. I enjoyed the movie. I walked out of it the other night, as I said, feeling some type of way. And that way that I felt was mostly positive. And overall, I will say that my good feelings about the movie definitely outweighed any issues I had with it. And I think a good place to start off with any kind of argument or debate or, any point you're trying to make is to kind of look at it in extremes. I think with this movie, it's like, okay, I worded it a certain way on my phone. And a good way to start off is thinking about like, what is the worst thing that could have been done with this movie? I personally think the worst thing that could have been done was for it to be left in the hands of a person that didn't care about doing anything unique with it, anything new, anything surprising, or anything like meaningful. Barbie is like a cultural icon. She kind of sells herself. This is the first ever really big live action Barbie movie ever. So if they wanted to just market it well and hire some A-listers to be in it and kind of just have this vapid story that kind of goes nowhere and it's just very surface level, they could have done that, but they didn't do that with this movie. They think they really went for something of value and they really tried to do something meaningful with it. And I think that that's great. So That's good. That's covered. Also, I'm going to start with the things that I really loved about it. On a basic level, I loved pretty much everything about it. Like, in terms of the set design, the Barbie land that they designed for this movie is nothing short of mesmerizing. It is so beautiful. If I close my eyes and I think about like the land where Barbie lives, like literally like the town she chills in, it's the one that they had in this movie. It is so beautiful, so detailed. I can't even imagine the amount of work that went into creating it. It's perfect. I love the details with how when she drinks out of her cup, there's no juice. When she goes in the shower, there's no water coming out. You know, she doesn't eat, she doesn't brush her teeth, she doesn't really do any of the stuff. It's just so cute and perfect. And then on top of that, like, the performances were great. When I first heard that Margot Robbie was playing Barbie, I was like, okay, yeah, obviously, but like, is there anybody else that, you know, could have been considered for? I know Amy Schumer was, and not sure how that would have been. It would have been obviously a very different movie, I think. Margot Robbie was completely perfect as Barbie. Like, there is just a tenderness and a sweetness to that woman that I think just shines through. I think she really kind of personifies Barbie in a lot of ways. And she's so beautiful, so captivating. She was perfect. Ryan Gosling as Ken, also perfect. I loved what he brought to it because he in general has that kind of like coolness to him. He's got like a very charismatic thing going on, but also he's very awkward at the same time, I think, and he's got that kind of childlike quality to him, and the balance of those two things back and forth just made it perfect. He was excellent. Michael Cera was great. I was so happy to see him in something again, and as Alan, he was perfect. Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie. There were some new introductions, like Simu Liu, I think is how you say his name. He was really great. I've never seen him in anything before, but I thought he was perfect as, you know, a Ken. Yeah, just the whole cast. The whole cast was America Ferrera. She was great in it too. Like, just everybody really hit the nail on the head. So in that way, this movie was like kind of like on a surface level, they took care of like everything with this movie. Where I personally... I will say that this movie shocked me. And I went into it knowing full well, just from things I'd heard and from just knowing that it was a Greta Gerwig movie, it was produced by Noah Baumbach. Like, they're two kind of like weirdos, you know what I mean? So I knew there was going to be some element of it that wasn't going to be what I thought it was going to be. But it was like more not what I thought it wasn't going to be than what I didn't think it was going to be. It just really took me by surprise, and not necessarily even in like a very negative way, but just in like a, wow, like they're really just like going for it. Because this movie, from the second it starts to the second it ends, it is on a mission. And that mission is the female experience, is showing you the female experience. Like, this really is a movie made by women for women. I think that's to be expected as well with a Barbie movie. Like, I don't think there's any getting around any kind of feminist qualities in a Barbie movie. Like, I think in the world of like feminist debate, she's kind of a symbol of unattainable perfection, unattainable female perfection. So I don't think that there was going to be any getting away from feminist undertones or overtones, which is what this movie did. And I think that it's very appropriate. You know, I think that was completely kind of, you know, I think that was the way to go with it. So they kind of, you know, there's another check mark there. The problem I had with it was how wildly self-aware it was. Like, it was distractingly self-aware, I would say. It was breaking the fourth wall and winking at the audience with like every other line. That became distracting to me, and it became kind of tiring. Like, this movie does a lot of jumping around between lightheartedness and heavy-handedness. And I think the term heavy-handed is one I've been hearing a lot in describing this movie and the kind of maybe the issues that people take with it, because it's very heavy-handed. It's a lot, and it's not always a lot in like the best, most creative way. So in terms of dialogue, it goes from like being lighthearted and satirical and really funny, because there's some really funny laugh out loud moments in it. And I love those moments. I think those were the best moments, and I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Goes from being really light to really heavy-handed, and back and forth and back and forth. And not just in the dialogue, it's back and forth within the actual narrative movement of the film itself. You know, there's a lot of back and forth between like traveling, like they start off in Barbie land and then they move to the real world and then they go back to Barbie land, and that kind of, it just makes it choppy, and I found it really difficult to position myself comfortably within the movie in that way, because I always felt like I was having to kind of readjust with like the flow of it. It did not flow very well for me. It's extremely fragmented, and it just feels like you're moving into like a new kind of story with it every like 5 minutes. It did not have like the cohesive quality that I was hoping for, I think. And that's where I come in with the way I would have done it. I am of the camp, if there is a camp for this at all, I'm not sure what people are thinking or saying. I don't think the real world element of it even needed to exist. I think this movie would have been so much stronger if it had kept the story tight, and within Barbie land, there was just so much potential to explore that in and of itself. I think that that's what people were like, went to go see it for. It's like, I want to go see like this world. I want to go see this other realm, because I mean, we as the audience, we are the real world. You know, we kind of get what Barbie is and what she represents as like she's a cultural icon. You know, she's kind of just part of like the female zeitgeist of how we are taught to think about women and ourselves. And so yeah, because I really do think that the movie's mission of illustrating the female experience, and I think the kind of pitfalls of a patriarchal society, could have actually been fully realized within Barbie land itself. It didn't need to go anywhere, you know, because we're the real world, you know, we're here, we're watching it, so we kind of play that role as the audience ourselves. We don't need to leave it. You know, and I think it would have been kind of cool to have like the Barbies realize how kind of hurtful their behavior is towards the Kens, and then they come to the realization, and just kept it more kind of showy and not telling, because this movie does a lot of telling instead of showing, and I don't know that it conveys its message in the clearest way all the time. I felt like the back and forth of so much of the dialogue and how it's kind of conveyed, and then the back and forth between Barbie land and the real world, it just kind of muddies the waters of like what the film is trying to get at about, you know, equality. I think being able to see the Barbies come to like a very human realization within their own ecosystem, like I think that would have just been so much cooler. And I also think if they weren't kind of like wink wink nudging at the audience all the time, and they just kept it like satirical and really funny and just went for those funny moments all the time, I think it just would have been, personally, just more enjoyable. There were moments in the human world that I really enjoyed. I'm not even gonna touch the Mattel shit. I'm not touching the Mattel shit. Didn't work for me. Love Will Ferrell. None of that worked for me. None of the office building, chase scenes, any of that stuff were, I didn't like that. The old lady scene, like I really liked that. Like that stuff, there were certain things that 100% made me really emotional, and I was like, oh wow, like that's really something. But again, I think they could have figured out how to do it within Barbie land and just kept it like insular and tight. The other thing is, as much as I liked America Ferrera in this movie, I don't think I've ever seen her in a movie before, like acting. I also kind of feel like her character was, with the speech that she gives in the movie, you know, the speech that is actually very good. Like a lot of people are talking about how kind of cringe it is, because it's so like, as women, you know, you have to be pretty, but not too pretty, so you're not threatening. You gotta be smart, but not too smart. You know, just the back and forth, like the contrast between what we're expected to be and like it just the impossibilities of being female. That really struck a chord with me, but I also felt like if anybody should be delivering that message, it was Barbie herself, because she's the one, you know, she's the titular character. She's the one going through the existential crisis. And if she was the one to come to that realization, I think it would have just like hit home a little bit more, because at that point, like Barbie's like on the ground, like what the fuck, like freaking out, and you kind of just almost forget about her as like a character for a little bit, which is kind of like weird to me. But you're also supposed to be super concerned, I think, with what she's going through, but it's hard when it's like America Ferrera. And I also just felt like if her character is supposed to represent a woman that is being kind of held down by the patriarchy, then she should have been a character that was obviously being held down by the patriarchy. Don't just like tell me that that's a problem, like show it to me, because, you know, she has like a decent job at a like a good company. She's got, you know, the main issue she's having in her life isn't with any man, it's with her daughter, who seems to be a very intelligent well-read. Maybe like, you know, she got the too smart for her own good trope of like, you know, tween trope that they like to use in movies. You know, she's struggling with her own really intelligent kid that she's just having a hard time with, you know, parent to child. And then she's got like a really nice husband who's like, seems to be really caring, is trying to like learn her language. And then when she's like, you know, doing like the badass like chase scene, like making the goons that are chasing her look like a bunch of goons. Like, it's sort of like, I think you're doing just fine. You know, I think you're okay. Just that kind of element of it, as much as I liked America Ferrera's performance, the character itself was just kind of confusing to me in terms of like what they were using her for as a character. Another thing, I've got so much to cover here, but you know, there's certain things that I want to touch on. I do think that this is a movie that I need to see again, because I have the terrible quality of anticipating things so intense, and not just in movies, but a lot of things in my life. I just anticipate things so much, I expect so much, you know, I go to experience it, and all I'm concerned with is enjoying it. And that kind of interferes with, you know, the experience itself. Because I was sitting there, you know, watching it, and it's like anytime anything kind of didn't go the way I was expecting it to, I was sort of like, you know, because like, you know, we've all been waiting so long. So I absolutely will be viewing it again. I think it kind of is important to do that. The other thing I'll say with it too is that it is a movie that panders heavily. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there who doesn't enjoy on-the-nose political messages in movies who walked out of Barbie enjoying them more. It kind of just felt like they were trying to invite people that were already at the party to the party. Like they were really, I think, directing it at a group of people that were, you know, going to enjoy it, because that's just, you know, their set of beliefs and the way that they think about things. So it didn't really, I think, attempt to invite anybody new to the party. And I think that that's kind of like an important quality when you have such a huge platform for a movie and such an opportunity with it. And granted, you know, this is very heavy stuff, and it's like, take it or leave it. But, you know, the overarching like idea of uniting people is very important right now. And I think I look at things a little bit differently. I look at all kind of art forms in that light. It's like, is this trying to bring people together? Is it trying to just appeal to people that it's naturally going to appeal to based on what they're trying to do with it? So yeah, there's that. Overall, I think I would give this movie, like, as much as I feel like I'm like trashing it, I enjoyed it for sure. Like, I walked out really feeling good about it. I saw it with my boyfriend. We both walked out really liking it. I think we shared a lot of like the same kind of confusions over the message, because there just was like too much going on with it. This movie was really only like less than 2 hours long. You know, that's kind of like a rarity in today's day and age. And I think they could have simplified it quite a bit more. But I would give it like a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it. And I think the thing that I took away from it more than anything was that I just really appreciated its existence. Like, they went balls to the wall with this thing. They didn't hold back. It was really daring. And Greta Gerwig, who Frances Ha is one of my favorite movies ever. It's one of the most subtle, beautiful human stories. Like, I love that movie so much. I think I would have appreciated more kind of subtlety from her. I think that's it. That's my thing. But I do really appreciate the fact that this movie exists, and there's a lot about it to enjoy. So yeah, this is about to end in a second, this video. I will say, as I sign off, please subscribe to my channel if this is your jam. I usually eat more food and like talk less, but I decided I wanted to talk more and eat less food this week, and that's my jam. Everybody take care. Have a glorious week. Thank you for listening. Go see the movie if you want to. Check it out. I will see everybody next week. Have a groovy week. Eating a variety of food for the views, and I talk to the food in my mouth.